What is going on YouTube? It's your boy Dan, aka aDrive. I'm bringing you guys a brand new gameplay trailer and commercial from the Japanese Pokemon YouTube channel regarding Pokemon Sword and Shield, and I'm excited to jump into this one, man. There's all new gameplay footage showing off a handful of Pokemon in the Galar region that we haven't seen before, at least included in the deck. So in this video, we're gonna break down this new little commercial or trailer, and then ultimately talk about some Pokemon that are going to be featured in the Galar region from what we've seen so far. So it's looking to be a pretty fun video. Hit that like button down below and make sure you guys subscribe if you guys are new, as I do post Pokemon videos every single day, and this is the place to be for Pokemon Sword and Shield content. But anyway, let's jump into it, man. I'm gonna actually play the trailer on half speed so we can kind of look at it. I'll be pausing a few times, but let's take a look. Let's jump into it right now. I'm excited. Let's see what we got here. So we're gonna open up. We're gonna see some Lapras kind of floating out in what looks to be the wild area. You got Mantines jumping in the back. It's very likely that Remoraid and Octillery are also gonna be in the game as well, because you need those to kind of evolve the other ones. So that could be a thing. We're gonna see Wobbuffet seems to have made the decks as well, and Beware kind of walking around again in the wild area. That's gonna be the kind of the majority of the screenshots they're gonna be showing us, which is pretty cool. Tyranitar, I love this shot right here. Tyranitar walking through kind of the sandstorms, and that's one thing I'm really excited about when it comes to the wild area, is the fact that there's gonna be different types of weather that are gonna impact the spawns that you're gonna get. So every time you go to the wild area, it could be like a totally different experience than previous. And they've even said there's gonna be things like thunderstorms, which are going to be a different kind of weather that maybe even, I think they set electric terrain as well as cause rain. So there's all sorts of different things that could take place in the wild area, and it can create for some really interesting battles, not only from a max raid battle perspective, but just in the wild, you know, encountering these various Pokemon. So while I know a lot of people want this game to be open world, like completely, I think this idea of an open world, open wild area is a really good step in that direction. And seeing Pokemon like Tyranitar walk around, that's just so cool. But Tyranitar is version exclusive, and Hydreigon's gonna be in the other game, so that's something interesting to note there. But we'll see T-Tar kind of walking around. Abomasnows and Glalie. Look at Abomasnow. Look at his face. He looks really funny. But Abomasnow and Glalie makes it, which we can assume then means Frostlass is also going to make the Dex cut. That's a really cool set of Pokemon there. And then a nice kind of pan out of the wild area and your trainer there. I will say, there's been a lot of hate on the graphics in the game, and there are some serious texture issues, but this is not final gameplay, of course. There's Leon. We're gonna see the 3 starters popping up. Let me know in the comments section below. Are you Team Grookey, Sobble, or Scorbunny? I'm still on the fence, to be completely honest with you guys, man. Like, I really like all 3 designs. I think that these 3 starters are probably my favorite trio collectively in a very long time. But it's gonna depend on the evolutions, because I'm like I said, I'm still on the fence in terms of what Pokemon I like the most, but they're all pretty cool. We'll see there. We see an encounter here in the wild. This looks to be outside of a gym. This just seems to be pretty early on in the game. Be able to count what seems to be, I think, let's see here. That's a Yamper. So we see the little Corgi Pokemon. We're gonna see Scorbunny fighting it. Level 15, level 14. So there's a Roly-Coly here, which is pretty cool. Grookey going for a Razor Leaf against that. And there's Duraludon and Sobble throwing down. I do wonder if that means you can encounter Duraludon earlier in the game, because that Sobble was only level 15. But perhaps it's because it's going to evolve at 16 and they're just trying to show off different gameplay footage. That may not be any sort of indication. Throwing a Pokeball, that's a Roly-Coly we're trying to capture right there. Gonna get a nice encounter. I will say these textures are pretty bad. Right here, the little texture over here is pretty bad. But hopefully this stuff, like this rock, looks like we're back about 10 years. But let's hope that they kind of polish up some of these graphics. I'm the first to say that, like, graphics are a really important piece to video games for me. Like, I generally love the fact that, you know, technology is getting more advanced so we can experience, like, more realistic gameplay. But Pokemon and graphics in Pokemon isn't, like, the #1 thing for me. Gameplay experience, like new Pokemon that I really like, those things are more important. So while I understand the gripe of people kind of hating on the graphics and stuff like that, we've already shown in other videos that there have been improvements, some pretty drastic improvements made over the last few months since the trailers have been coming out. So I definitely expect to see some of this stuff polished up. But I also wonder how much of the game is actually going to be optimized for the Switch Lite. And that's something very interesting to note, is they're coming out with the Switch Lite, and they're going to use Pokemon Sword and Shield to sell Switch Lites and kind of vice versa, right? So use use Switch Lite to sell Sword and Shield, and it makes me wonder whether the hardware capabilities of that console are going to be the same as the full Switch, and if they're going to have to kind of almost downplay the game in a way so that it's optimized for the Switch Lite, and I wonder if that's going to sacrifice the quality of the game when displayed on TVs. I'm not super like technologically savvy to really, I haven't done the research to be completely honest on that dynamic, but it's definitely something worth discussing there. I'm curious if that's going to make any impact there. But one thing I wanted to point out here, I don't know what this is. There's like a poster here with some sort of a little, I don't know if that's a person or what that is, but it's something to know. I don't necessarily think it's a Pokemon, but just something I wanted to point out because I did happen to notice that there. This thing right here, we're assuming that this has some sort of correlation to the legendaries, the Man on the Hill, whether it's the Eternatus Pokemon that has been kind of rumored in some other videos, or it's just something completely different, but there could be some tie-in to Zamazenta and Zacian with this Pokemon on the Hill. There's got to be some sort of significance here. There's got to be, which is very interesting. I'm excited to kind of see where that comes out. There's Nessa's gym, the water type gym, and then you're going to see the throwdown against Nessa, of course, the water type gym leader who's got a tremendously awesome design. We're going to see Dreadnought throwing down against Grookey. Here's a cool shot right here showing off some new Pokemon that are revealed for the first time in the Galar region. Ferrothorn, Mawile, and Toxapex, meaning that Ferroseed and Marini are going to make it, and I'm actually really happy about this trio here. This is a really interesting trio. Mawile a little underwhelming without a Mega, but still a cool Pokemon, Steel and Fairy. Toxapex I'm glad to see because I love that Pokemon. I know a lot of people don't like it, but this is a bulky group right here, man. Toxapex and Ferrothorn are actually a great combination together defensively, so for Draft League Pokemon, man, they're out there. I'm just letting you know. I got to think of it that way too, but definitely something worth noting there in terms of that. And then, let's see here. We're going to withdraw our Pokeball, and then they're going to show off some of these kind of Dynamax animations here as they're battling against this Hydreigon, and they're gonna Dynamax this, or Gigantamax actually, this Dreadnought. One thing I will say that I thought was interesting is like, why did they make such an effort to announce Dynamaxing and then just promptly announce Gigantamaxing right thereafter? But here's the Gigantamaxing, of course, the Alchemy and the Corviknight, both Gigantamaxing, getting kind of new forms to throw down with the Rotom Drone. We're gonna see this powerful kind of whirlwind. This is an interesting animation. Gengar actually is like got all these chairs and boots and teacups, and I don't really know what's going on with this Gengar, like what move he's using, but he just kind of throws all those things kind of out there. Pikachu's got some, you know, some big lightning bolts. This, I will say, all right, there's been a lot of things I've been reading about this. Look at this Charizard animation, man. I hate to be the guy who hates because I'm usually pretty positive, but look at Charizard's head, and then look at where the beam of fire comes out of. Like, hold on. Hold on, let me see if I can get this. Like, his head's down here and the beam's up here. What is up with that? All right, listen, I know we've been trashing on Blastoise for how many generations because the water comes out of his forehead and not out of his cannons, all right? And there's been this Chinese bootleg game that's been going around that has better animations, and I've been thinking about making a separate video for that. We may talk about that soon, but that game I just want to talk about only has like 60 Pokemon in it, and there's only like 1 or 2 animations for each thing. So if you've seen videos on that already, I'm just letting you know. It's not a fair comparison, but it is kind of funny. Poor Charizard here, man. He's shooting this beam out of his, I don't know where that is, not his head apparently. So he's gonna shoot that big fire beam out, and then we're gonna see Zacian and Zamazenta popping up on screen with this really sick animation. They look really cool. I liked Team Shield personally. I really do like Team Shield, and they're the two doggos are, and looking really good with the Sword and Shield artwork. So that's a pretty cool little commercial there. Nothing too crazy, right? Like they drop out this brand new commercial and they show off a few new Pokemon. Just briefly, you know, we don't see anything new in terms of new Pokedex. We're still waiting for Impidimp to be announced. But they did show off a few things, and they're going to be highlighted in kind of a lighter color. But Gengar gets confirmed again, obviously, but we had already seen Haunter before. So some pretty cool stuff there. But some of the big ones, Lapras being shown. Who would have thought, right? The Loch Ness Pokemon, essentially. That's a big one right there. And then there was a couple other ones, as I mentioned. Mawile being shown for the first time. You can see it's a little bit of a lighter color. And I'll have this link in the description of Cerebi.net for anyone who wants to check this out. I will go into it in more depth, kind of in a separate video. I definitely, as we continue to get more Pokemon, I definitely want to kind of talk about what's in the game and what's going to be out of the game. But Ferroseed and Ferrothorn also confirmed. That's a big one in my opinion, because these are pretty meta-defining Pokemon. They're very, very powerful. in terms of their typing and just ability to set hazards and things of that nature. It's interesting to note that Slurpuff and Swirlix are confirmed in the game, and we still have Alchemy as well. So that means that, like, not necessarily super similar Pokemon. That doesn't mean that they're gonna eliminate other ones. But anyway, Mareanie and Toxapex obviously being one of the new ones kind of added as well. Another very defensive Pokemon. Some very bulky Pokemon already. I'm excited about Vikavolt personally. Weird to me that Wishiwashi was added. That's such a weird Pokemon, but nevertheless. And then nothing else new there. So we know about Mew. We know about obviously the legendaries. Como-O, Hakamo-O, a bunch of different things. Mimikyu making the cut was really nice. Noivern's really cool. Avalugg, I'm excited about Avalugg, dude. I think Avalugg is a cool Pokemon. So some pretty interesting stuff here that is going to make the Dex cut. But anyway, I was excited about this gameplay trailer that kind of came out of nowhere. This little kind of commercial, and I thought it was interesting to see some of the you know, kind of Dynamaxing and see some of the screenshots of gameplay that we haven't seen before. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I'll have some more information out coming soon as they continue to release more stuff. We'll talk more about Pokemon Sword and Shield. If there's anything you want me to talk about, let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to hit that like button down below, subscribe if you guys are new, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.